y'all, so I'm back to show you how to make a shawl. I had a request to make a shawl, so I'm going to show you how I did that using this red heart yarn called Roll With It. It is a self-striping yarn, so you don't have to do anything but just work the yarn. I used 1.5 skeins of this yarn. It is so pretty, you all, and it comes in so many different colors. Now I tried this tutorial using this little wooden crochet hook. Super cool. I love the design. It did not work as well for me. It made me go really slow. So I'll start with this tutorial with this crochet hook, but I will move on to something different that works a little better for me. So go ahead and make yourself a slip knot and place that on that crochet hook. And if I didn't mention it, that is a 6mm crochet hook. You're going to do a chain of 5, and you can do a smaller chain if you want. My main thing is I wanted to show you how to work in the circle. So I did a chain of 5. And then once you have your chain of 5 completed, you're going to slip stitch into that very first stitch that you created. And you're basically going to just be making a circle. So you'll do a slip stitch, pull through, and then you're going to pull through again. All right. So what we're doing here is we're going to be working into this circle, creating clusters of 3 double crochet stitches. So we're going to start off by making a chain of 5. The chain of 5 is your first double crochet stitch plus an additional 2, which will serve as your turning chain. And I'll get into that in a second, but go ahead and make yourself a chain of 5. And then you're going to work back into the circle, creating 3 double crochet stitches. So yarn over into that circle, you're going to complete your double crochet stitch. Now if you do not know how to do a double crochet stitch, I will link in the video a tutorial on how to do that, but it's really helpful if you already know how to do a double crochet stitch for this tutorial. Okay, so this is your second double crochet stitch, and you're going to do one more. Okay, so now you have a cluster of 3 double crochet stitches, and then you have one kind of off to the one off to the side that we already completed. So do you see how that looks? So you have that one, which was created with a chain of 5 plus 2, and then you have the 3. Go ahead and chain 2, and then we're going to do another double crochet stitch. You guys, this crochet hook was so fun to work with. All right, and we're going to do another set of 3. So you just did 1, now you're doing your second one, now you'll do your third. So now what we kind of have is like an arrow or a pyramid shape or a mountain shape, but you have, so now we have to make it even. So you have, remember you had that one off to the side, we're going to create that now. So chain 2, and then we're going to do one more double crochet stitch. Okay, now remember this is like a pyramid or mountain, so it's got to be equal all the way as we're working. So we have, okay, so you have your double crochet stitch that was created, the double crochet stitch in that turning chain space, which was created with that chain of 5, your cluster stitches all the way up to the top of the pyramid, and you have the exact same thing on the other side, which is exactly what we're looking for. And we're going to build our shawl like that. So what you're going to do is turn that whole little work that we just did, we're going to turn it, and we're going to work up again. So it's basically, you're going to turn it so that the work is on the left side of your crochet hook. You're going to do a chain of 5 again, because remember 5 is going to be your first double crochet stitch plus the 2 for the turning chain, right? In that space, in the chain 2 space, you're now going to create 3 more double crochets. This is your second one, and you'll do one more. So we're going to work this project, this first part of the project, we'll work it in clusters of 3s. So that's what you're looking like. You'll do a chain of 2. And in that top space there, because you don't have any more spaces to work in, you're now going to do another set of 3 double crochet stitches. And remember, whatever you do on the right side, you have to do it on the left side of the mountain. So you have the mountain, one side, and or pyramid, or however you want to say it. Okay? All right, and we have one more. All right, now you're going to do a chain of 2. This is going to create our point. Back into that very same space, now you're going to do another set of 3. So anytime you come to the point of your pyramid, you're going to do a cluster of 3, chain 2, cluster of 3 in the same space. And that's just at the point of the shawl or the point of the pyramid. Okay, see how it's starting to look? Now we're going to come back down. So in that next open space, remember that chain of 2 that we did at the end? You're going to chain 2. And then in that space, you're going to create your next cluster of 3. Cluster of 3 double crochet stitches. Okay, and then you'll do one more. So you see how that's looking? Now you're going to do a chain of 2 because we have to make it even. And in that same space, you're going to do another double crochet stitch. Just one though, because we're ending the row. So see how that looks? So at this point, you should have 2 clusters of 3 on one side, and then another set of clusters of 3 on the other side, plus the 1. Okay, so you're going to, at this point, you'll turn your work. So you're working back again the same. I think that's the trickiest part until you get into it, is making sure that you turn your work and work along the sides, because otherwise you may end up working along the bottom and then you don't have a shawl. So as you get more into it, you'll see it. So make a chain of 5. Remember that's going to count as your first double crochet stitch and your turning chain. Into that space, that first space right there, you're going to do your first set of 3 double crochet stitches. And you guys, I will not stay on camera this whole time to do this. This is really the foundation of the project. You'll work this for about 15 rows, and then I'm going to show you what I do to kind of make my pattern my own. Okay, so you've done that. You're going to chain 2, and into your next open space right there, you're going to do your next set of 3 double crochet stitches. Okay. And remember, this should be symmetrical. You should be able to fold this in half and have the same number of stitches on both sides, same number of clusters on both sides as you go along. So when you get to the top of your pyramid, you're going to do into the same space, you're going to do a cluster of 3, chain 2, and then another cluster of 3. Okay, so you just chain 2. Now you're going to do your set of double crochet stitches, which is 3 double crochet stitches. Okay, chain 2. This is going to create your point. 1, 2. Okay, and in that same spot, you're going to do 3 more double crochet stitches. So only when you get to the point at the top will you do your clusters in the same space. Otherwise, each chain 3 space will have its own set of, in each chain 2 space, you'll have your own set of clusters. Okay. So you see how that's starting to look? Like an arrow. All right, in that next space there, you'll continue to work. with your cluster of 3. So I did this project on the go, so of course I won't be able to show you every single step because I didn't do this all on camera, but I'll get you from one point to the next point. But I did this when I was in the car. Okay, that last space there, you're going to do your set of 3, but you're also going to do one more. So remember, this is our second double crochet stitch, one more double crochet stitch. That completes that cluster, but then you're going to have to do your chain of 2 and then one more double crochet stitch. That's what adds us another set of clusters to keep the pattern going. So you don't want to forget this at the end of the row. Okay, chain 5. Oh, we're still doing that. I'm sorry, guys. I need to do that last double crochet stitch. Okay, so this is what it's looking like. Then you're going to chain 5 and then start your next row. This works up really quickly. I was kind of surprised because I was able to get so much done in the car when I was driving, because I really wanted to put more on camera, but I was just working. So I was able to come back and get some more footage for you all. But really, this is how the pattern works. Now I do change it up a little bit for like I say, because I like the spaces to be a little closer together, so I add a little bit. I change the pattern a bit, but I'll show you that in a minute. If you don't want to change the pattern, if you want to continue to work just like this, you can. You'll have a beautiful shawl just like the one I created. It just won't have that extra it won't have the pattern change that I do. Okay, I'm just going to stay on camera a little bit longer just so you guys can catch on a little bit more. And if it just goes too fast, y'all, you can always rewind it or pause or stop the video. Whenever you get to the end of the cluster, remember you're going to chain 2 and then go into the next cluster, except for at the top of the pyramid, you're going to work into the same pyramid. So this is what it's looking like. So just continue working at this point. I worked a little bit further along so you can see it's growing some. And now I'm going to show you how I did my pattern chain. Now, if you do not want to do the pattern change, that is fine. Just continue working what I showed you. What I do is I kind of bring my stitches together a little bit by doing a drop stitch. I think that's what you call it. That's what I'm calling it, okay? A drop stitch. And so it kind of pulls those gaps together, all the spaces, it kind of pulls them together. That's what I was trying to show you here. So if you look, I kind of do a drop stitch down, and that allows it to kind of gather a little bit. So let me show you how I do that. And like I said, this is optional. You do not have to do the pattern chain. I'll have this on my website if you like the way I do mine, okay? So just like we did before, into the, we started a new row. You're going to do your chain of 5, and then you're going to do a set of 3 clusters, right? So that's what I'm doing here, that very first stitch. Now, when you get to your next set of stitches, you'll do your chain of 2. You're going to do 1 regular double crochet stitch, okay? But then, instead of you going right back on that same space, you're going to drop down to the stitch below. So instead of going right in the hole, you're going to go into that stitch below and then do your double crochet stitch. So super simple, but it just pulls the work together, and I like it better. And actually, I think I'm going to do an entire cowl that way. But for this project, this is what I did. Okay, so essentially, you're still doing the same thing. You're going to chain, chain 2 and go to your next set of clusters, but that middle stitch that you do, you're going to drop down and grab a drop down and complete the stitch in the stitch below. So I did my regular one, then I'm just going to go, instead of going straight into that hole, I'm going to go down right below it. See right there? Right there. I'm going to do my double crochet stitch right in the top of that stitch. And again, I don't know if this is called a drop stitch. I need to probably do some research. I think this is a drop stitch, and this is what I'm doing, okay? Chain 2, and then you do the same thing. Now I do the drop stitch row, I think I did it 4 times and then I switched back to my original pattern, but I will be sure to do my written pattern so that you can see where to do it. And you can do the drop stitch at any point or not do it at all. But if you want it to look exactly the way I did it, I'll put that information over on my blog. So see there? It just kind of gathers it up a little bit more, doesn't make it so airy. And I feel like because we're transitioning from spring to fall, just to have a little bit more coziness to it, I think I just like that idea. So that's what I did. And like I said, I think I'll do another scarf, a smaller one, just to kind of go around the front of your torso, your chest area, with the drop stitch only. Okay, and I think I'm just showing you here once you get back up to the tip. I don't do a drop stitch, I just do the regular stitch. So I just do 3 double crochet stitches, chain 2, and then I do 3 double crochet stitches. So I don't do a drop stitch when I get to the point, only because I don't want it to ruin the shape of the blanket. All right. So, I mean, really, that is how you do your shawl. This isn't anything that I have to stay on camera the whole time for you guys. The same thing I did on the right side, I'm going to do on the left side, and I'll just continue doing that until I get to my desired width and length. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. Again, written instructions will be on my blog. But really, guys, this is pretty much how it looks if you just keep going till you get to the desired length or width that you need. And then I did add a few more embellishments that I'll show you towards the end. But if you don't want to do this next part, you really don't have to do that. I went ahead and around the collar area, I did a single crochet stitch just around the collar area, because that's the part that's going to drape down by your chest, and I wanted it to look finished. So when you get to the very end of the last row that you're going to create, you're going to just go back down the bottom side of the pyramid, and you'll just do a single crochet stitch all the way across. And that's just what I did. Now that's just an added piece, you do not have to do it. I also added some tassels to the end. Now I do not go into detail on how to create tassels and such. I do have a video on my channel that I will link that shows you how to create a tassel if you do not know how. But really, I just created the tassels and then I sewed them to the bottom portion of the shawl. So something simple, easy embellishment to put on there if you want to. You absolutely do not have to. It's beautiful without anything added. You don't have to do the finishing row nor the tassels, but that always just adds a little bit of flair. So this is what it looks like. I have the little beads on there and the tassels, and that's pretty much it. I will weave in all of my strings, add my little tag to the top, and that's it. So any questions, leave them down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.